A surprise that I'm up by noon.
Your laugh song, crying.
What a nice surprise visit. See, this is a surprise I like, Andrew Lessman.
It was a surprise visit, and we're running out of everything.
I know you are.
Because we just added this literally 2 weeks ago. Didn't know this was going to be happening. So
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, Andrew Lessman, everybody, he makes the world's finest vitamins.
And before anything and everything, I have to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day, especially to my father, without whom I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be the person I am. So happy Father's Day, Dad. Love you.
That's nice. Well, you know how much we love Andrew Lessman, and of course, yes, Andrew's right. Happy Father's Day to all of our dads. Everything that we have over the course of the next 2 hours was a big surprise for us, and Andrew's going to give you all the details. I was so excited that we're doing this, but because I know Colleen is a little late to the party on this.
Phytoceramides, yes.
I know. I will tell you, I have been singing the praises of this since you introduced it. But what's so interesting, this was so popular as a monthly special. People demanded a year ago, let's do this as a Best Buy of the Day. So instead of a monthly special, this is 1 day and 1 day only. You know how much I love Andrew's Healthy Hair, Skin, and Nails. And of course, July is normally our big beauty visits. So we've got some other surprises coming up in this show. But if you want better beauty built from the inside out, Phytoceramides is an amazing addition. You just choose your size of choice. And Andrew, because this was not planned, now this comes from France. So you've got some...
The raw material comes from France. And unfortunately, the raw material was supposed to be on its way here, so we could have produced it and we could have had it delivered to you within, say, 10 days, but it looks as though it's not going to be on its way as originally planned, and the quantity would have been more than adequate for a monthly special. So we're probably going to run out this afternoon. What I already decided we're going to do, if we manage to get more in from France in July, when we're doing our beauty month in earnest, when we're doing our Healthy Hair, Skin, and Nails and Marine Collagen Peptides as today's specials, we'll do a quiet little today's special 2 in the background, and it will be phytoceramides. So we're going to do our very, very best to have enough for this afternoon, and then we're going to do our very best to ensure that we get supply back in July, and if we can in July, it will be back in July, just in the background for those of you who don't get it today.
Absolutely. Well, as always, Andrew is such a font of information, so we've got lots of information to share. All you do is you pick your size of choice, the 30, the 60, the 120, or the 240, as always. Andrew is doing some special pricing, and I will tell you, and I'll just say this for what it is, because as you know, I'm pretty forthright. I love this product, been taking it since you developed it and brought it to market.
Only a couple of years ago,
Only a couple of years ago, but it is one of the more investment-oriented products that I take. It's normally very expensive.
It's a very expensive raw material. You actually now see it in a lot of topical skincare products. But when I look at the clinical studies, the scientific studies on topical skincare, I don't see indications that you can topically apply ceramides and have them moisturize your skin. They feel good when you apply them to your skin. You could open a capsule here and apply it to your skin. It feels good because it has that emollient feeling. And that emollient feeling is one of the characteristics of a moisturizer, that sort of oily, moist feeling on the surface of your skin. But that technically isn't moisturizing your skin. Ceramides are large lipid-based molecules that don't penetrate into the inner layers of your skin to moisturize. So the way to deliver them, fortunately or unfortunately, the way to deliver them is internally. As we've discussed with my inner beauty-related products for over 20 years, these tissues are manufactured on the inside of our body, whether we're talking about our skin in this case, our hair, or our nails, all manufactured inside our body. The only chance we have to affect their structure, their beauty, is at the inside of our body. When it comes to our skin, it's sort of doubly bad. First of all, our skin covers our entire body, so don't think, as many people do, that this only affects the skin on your face. This affects the skin throughout your body. We have reviews talking about elbows and knees and heels and feet and hands. So this affects and helps moisturize the skin, deliver the molecule that's required for keeping your skin moist on an inner level, on an internal level. That molecule, ceramides, is what this product focuses on. So unfortunately, you can't apply it on the outside of your body and see it do its work. That feels moist if you apply it there, but it's not actually moisturizing. And that's what's fascinating about skin moisturizers, is when you look at the science on skin moisturizers, a lot of the earliest moisturizers did it well, decades ago, did it well. and delivered moisturization well, better than many of the products that cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars a bottle, very costly products. So moisturization from the outside is an interesting process. I talked about it last night, where there are characteristics of a moisturizer. There's the occlusive characteristic. That's like putting Vaseline or something on your skin. It keeps all the moisture in. It seals your skin. Your skin can't technically breathe. It's not a healthy way to go about moisturization. It's not actually delivering moisture when you use things like lanolin or Vaseline or things like that, petroleum jelly. You're not actually delivering moisture to the inner layers. You're just trapping whatever moisture is there. Then there's other issues, the emollients I was talking about, where those are more superficial, where you feel that sort of lustery, smooth, moist feeling, but it doesn't necessarily go to the moisture inside your skin. Then there's the real, what I call the real moisturization. That's the humectant characteristics of a moisturizer. That's its ability, humectant, sort of humidity, that's the ability of a moisturizer to deliver moisture to the stratum corneum. And guess what it is about the stratum corneum that's involved with moisturization and retention of moisture? Ceramides. So when we really look at the characteristics of a moisturizer, an external moisturizer, we're specifically looking at what this molecule can do for the inner tissues within our body. And that's where moisturizing or moisturization really takes place, where, as they say, the rubber meets the road, is inside our body. So if you want to use a product that takes advantage of the actual system of moisturization that our body uses. Our body is not designed to moisturize itself from the outside. If it were, we'd just jump in a bathtub or shower or a swimming pool, and that would be moisturization. That's not how it works. We're better off drinking water. If anything, what we see that happens when we jump in a swimming pool or spend too much time in a bathtub, our skin loses its natural oils and its ability to moisturize itself. And if anything, our skin starts shriveling up, and it's just the opposite of what you'd expect. So if you want to be able to retain moisture in your skin, it's all about focusing on the healthy lipids, and ceramides are sphingolipids, healthy lipids like omega-3s, eating avocado, eating nuts and seeds, healthy fats within our diet, and of course, moisturization, hydration. You can't be cutting back on your water intake, whether it's tea and things like coffee and alcohol tend to be dehydrating, but you can't be moisturizing your skin while you're cutting back on your intake of water or fluids.
And remember, this is, back to one of my original points, I love this product. I'd take it regardless of the price, but I guess my whole point is, this is the best value we've ever seen. It's the first time that it's ever been offered as a today's special. One quick programming note, because this is a surprise visit, Andrew is doing special pricing and free shipping, lots of great opportunities that we'll talk about throughout the show. But now I can afford, now I'm doing the big one. I really am. And I have waited for this day, trust me.
One capsule a day.
Right.
It's just one capsule a day. And what I started off talking about, I didn't finish my thought, is that because this was only intended to be a monthly special, and because the additional material that we had thought or were promised was going to be coming into the country, and on a material like this, the best ceramides, phytoceramides in the world come from where we're getting them, from in France.
Yes.
These are the best. We follow the science, and of course, if the science indicates a specific choice of raw material, we follow that raw material. So that raw material, unfortunately, is not going to be here in adequate time for this today's special. So we will probably run out. I think we have enough to last the next hour or two, but it will run out this afternoon.
And our producer is even saying maybe as a qualifier. So, Steve, I might actually need you to get me the big one, because I'm assuming the larger...
Having Steve order for you?
Steve, get me the big one. Because, I mean, in all seriousness, now I know the science supports that you only need one. I actually take two. Is that bad?
No, I mean, we've read some reviews where folks take more. It's really just following the science and, of course, just trying to be economically responsible, trying to be financially responsible. One capsule is all you need, following the science. This is, again, a product. It's like all of my products. It's not a drug. It's not a medicine. You don't have to worry about overdosing on the product. But this is a product where you could take, if you wanted to, you could take a half a dozen capsules. And the only thing you're going to be doing is spending too much money. But you're not going to be giving your body anything that's problematic or any kind of issue at all, because these phytoceramides, these ceramides, are an essential part of how our body moisturizes its skin. If you sort of look at our body, if you had water in a glass and you put a glass out in the sun or out in the environment and you put, say, plastic wrap over the top of that glass, all the moisture eventually will sort of evaporate up toward the plastic on the top. But if you had a sponge at the bottom of the glass, a lot of that moisture will stay down in the sponge and won't really go to the plastic at the top of the glass. And the reason why is that sponge holds on to the moisture. The role of ceramides, first and foremost, is to help our cells hold on to the moisture. If you look at all the cells in our body, and it's really fascinating if you really think about this. We look at our body as being this sort of this total organism. And maybe we break it down to, we have a heart and a brain, and we have all these special organs. But if you really think about it a little bit deeper, there are all of these trillions and trillions of individual cells. Each one of those cells, they all have various different shapes, and those shapes are based upon their functions. But each of those cells is surrounded by a membrane. That membrane, to use another bad metaphor, that membrane is like a plastic bag. And inside the cell is water. The environment inside our cell is basically an aqueous environment. There's all sorts of technical organelles like mitochondria and ribosomes and all sorts of organelles, endoplasmic reticuli, and all sorts of interesting, fascinating organelles in our cells. But that cell is like a big plastic bag with an aqueous, a water-based environment in it. Kind of like when you're a kid and you get your first goldfish at the store. You have a big bag of water with the goldfish inside. The cell membrane is that bag. The water inside is the aqueous environment inside the cell. Of course, we're not made of plastic bags, but what is that incredible membrane, that bag that surrounds all our cells, that keeps that aqueous environment from losing all its moisture to the outside world, to the outside environment? It's a lipid bilayer. It's made of fats. Why does fat work so perfectly for that? And it's funny, this is sort of basic science. Ever try to mix water and oil in a glass? You shake it up, and 10 seconds later or 2 minutes later, you have your layer of oil and you have your water underneath. The reason why, for very specific biochemical reasons, those polar and non-polar materials, they do not mix. So what better thing to have surrounding that water environment as cell is something that will not mix with it, that traps the water in there. So that's that lipid bilayer. Our body takes it one step further. The outside of our body is covered with what? Skin. And what does our skin use in abundance to protect us from losing the water that keeps us alive to the outside world? Because we're, as a human being, we're basically a big bag of water. So as a living thing, we're this big bag of water. The biggest risk we have is that water being dissipated into the outside world. And what does our body use to do that? It uses ceramides, it uses fatty acids, and it uses cholesterol. Yet another application, healthy application of cholesterol. Cholesterol is not all bad. It's critical in our brain, it's critical for making hormones. It's critical for retaining moisture in all our cells and keeping our skin moist. But ceramides, when you look at the very top of the list of molecules involved with moisture retention, moisturization, the youthful properties of our skin, you're looking at ceramides. When you look at the first molecule, you'll see disrupted when it comes to skin issues and disorders, dry skin, what do they call it, atopic dermatitis, just irritated dry skin. One of the first things you'll see, typically, is a disruption in ceramide levels or ceramide organization. And if you look at the research, the first question anyone should ask, okay, if I take these ceramides in a capsule, I know they're a critical part of my skin, I know they're critical to be organized and in abundance in my skin, but if I take that capsule, does it get delivered to my skin? And that's what the science talked about. Yes, it does. And that's the most important question to ask, because there's no question about the importance of ceramides. The only question is how to deliver them. Topically, I've not seen science that says they can be delivered topically. I would love to figure out how to do so, but that would involve some kind of almost like a drug transporting agent, because these ceramides are such large molecules, like when you have a patch for certain things where the drug can be introduced topically, it would almost require that kind of technology because those ceramides are such large molecules. And the first and foremost role of our skin and our body, I talked about it before, it's the barrier property. Our skin is designed to keep water in and keep bad stuff out. So ceramides are not bad stuff, but it's designed to keep large molecules like that out. So the only way to deliver them, to my knowledge, is that way.
You see that, though? I think that's why we're all excited about this, because you're building healthier, better, softer, younger looking skin from the inside out. I had a lot of beauty yesterday, and listen, I love beauty. Many of you know I love doing our beauty shows here at HSN, but as much as I love the beauty products that I use from HSN, I'm getting better beauty benefits from this, because sometimes we buy a beauty product and it's almost like a wing and a prayer. You kind of hope, hope, hope that you'll be one of those people who achieve results. If you just listen to what Andrew was describing, the science behind this, our basic human anatomy, our physiology demands that you get bang for your buck, that you get those results. So I think that's why most of us are getting that large size. And no, Steve, you know I'm not kidding. I know we're within the hundreds on most of these.
We have, well, what I do know, we were just talking, we have the ability, because we always hold out quantity to balance.
Yes.
We have the ability to load in. We have 14,000 on the counter.
Yeah.
I think about 10,000 of them a large size.
Yeah.
We'll have the ability, if we only run out of the large size, we'll have the ability to load about another 7,000 of the large size.
Okay.
In other words, if we try to calculate, and it's what we try to do, we often don't do it well, but we try to. We make great products, we often don't make enough of them. That's the problem. But I think we'll have enough for this hour, we'll have enough for next hour. We'll probably run out sometime later in the afternoon. Maybe we'll have enough at 9 p.m. to just show it for 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, so again, most of us are choosing the large one, which regardless of the investment, I'm a huge fan of this. Now, I know results vary, but I'll give you an example. I'm heading into my 53rd year, and I don't use moisturizer. I swear to you, like on my chest, my neck, my décolleté, even my hands. I've noticed since I started taking this, when I go home to Minnesota, Minnesota is certainly a much drier climate than Florida. I used to have to sleep with gloves on, the whole 9 yards, just because, again, the air is not as moist. Now, again, for me, I still feel like my skin, my shoulders, my knees, my elbows, my hands, my knuckles, the places where I would normally notice a lot of residual dryness, because I use a lot of hand sanitizer as well.
The trouble spots, the problem spots, that's what we read in the reviews. And each review is different, but every person's body is different in terms of how our body manages to moisturize itself. But there is absolutely no question that as we get older, the ceramide levels in our skin, particularly in the most critical areas of our skin for moisturization, drop. So as those levels drop, it's no wonder that as we get older, our skin isn't as moist, our skin isn't as radiant. Our skin, its characteristic changes. All we're doing here is taking the system that is responsible for moisturization of our skin. That is not something that exists on the outside of our body. Humankind have been roaming around this planet for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Skin moisturizers are a very recent invention. Before that, skin just went through its normal process, and that normal process is to become less moist, less resilient, less flexible as we age. Those are the natural biochemical, physiologic changes that happens to that tissue. Ceramides just happens to be at the top of the list of molecules involved in keeping our skin moist. And that moisturization process happens on the inside. What we think of as moisturization on the outside is actually really what I call, and what scientists call, that emollient effect. That you could put an oily-based compound on your skin that has no water in it at all, so it can't be doing any moisturization at all, but it feels moist. That's the emollient effect. It's like if you put butter or oil or whatever it might be on your skin, coconut oil. Coconut oil doesn't moisturize your skin. I mean, coconut oil, all it could do is perhaps do something, say, occlusive, because it's an oil. It could hold in the water that's already there. It perhaps can penetrate into deeper levels and perhaps assist the skin in holding onto its moisture, but it's not actually delivering moisture. What we're doing here with ceramides is delivering these very large, unique sphingolipids to the inner layers of your skin, where they could deliver, as your body and as your skin intends it, it delivers the primary role of ceramides, which is moisturization.
Absolutely. Well, we see you there. I have to say, it has been a runaway hit. Most of us, again, are doing the larger sizes, and Andrew and his team, headed up by Jenny, they're going to manage that situation as the day progresses. I would just recommend that you'd be wise, I guess, to select this now. So 30, 60, 90, 120. Here's why I'm going for the 240. Basically, you could double your capsule count for the same price, because this is where our price.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this, by the way, is where our pricing will go. Okay. So after today, the $120 will be $120. The $240, double your capsule count. That's what you're getting today.
And by the way, in fact, part of how we, and I'm hoping that maybe next year, because this is growing as an important ingredient, as everyone sees, what I try to do is I try to drive our prices further and further down.
Sure.
We'll talk about our hair, skin, and nails coming up as a Today Special in July.
Yeah.
It's 10 times the potency of biotin today. It's significantly less expensive today than it was 20 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that this will become as popular and important ingredient as we've made other ingredients like CoQ10, and as a result, see the cost of this come down even further. We've already dropped the cost on this significantly since we introduced it a couple of years ago. My goal is to even drive it further down. Again, it's only 1 capsule a day. Some folks who might have significant issues or troubled areas, they might choose to take 2 capsules a day. But it's a product that delivers with just 1 capsule daily, and it delivers on the very simple, straightforward sort of anatomy of our body. The way our body is designed, ceramides play this critical role in moisturization. I didn't go through, we have the basic charts that I always put together before a show that just kind of summarizes a lot of the science I talk about. And it's probably, and we went through some of the research quotes last night, but I'll just go through some of the basic charts here so you get to see it in black and white or in black and sort of red. Ceramides are lipid-based molecules. They're sphingolipids, primarily responsible for the skin's ability to retain its moisture and water content. That's what moisturization is all about. The external world constantly robs our skin of its precious moisture. That's what happens. We will, without ceramides, without all the fatty acids, without our cell membranes, we just dry out.
Yes, we
don't exist.
For sure.
And ceramides are Mother Nature's natural internal moisturizer to promote and retain healthy, hydrated, radiant skin. Topically applying them on the outside of your body, I have not seen science that says that works. The ceramides cannot be delivered to the stratum corneum where that moisturization takes place. Our phytoceramides provides a concentrated source of plant-based ceramides. Ceramides are the predominant lipid present in the critical outermost protective layer of our skin, as I said, the stratum corneum of the epidermis. Ceramides promote radiant, soft, smooth, and supple skin by creating a protective barrier to prevent the loss of our skin's precious moisture. And it's actually a very, how would I say, it's a very well-organized layer that's ceramides. It's these lamellar sheets that provide, and again, our body is brilliantly designed, so these sheets are designed specifically to help us retain moisture. And retaining moisture, we think about it for purposes of vanity, for looking our best and feeling our skin feels its very best. But that's all about survival. When that design was created, that design had nothing to do with vanity. That design had everything to do with keeping moisture in, because if we can't, our survival is compromised. As I've always said in the past, if you look at humankind thousands of years ago, it's a very different world today. The number 1 and number 2 causes of our failure to survive was a lack of food or a lack of water. So our ability to stay nourished and to stay hydrated wasn't about vanity. It was all about survival. So ceramides for us today, it just shows how our world has sort of transformed, our world has evolved. Ceramides are no longer about survival. Ceramides to us, what we're principally talking about, is all about having our skin look its very, very best. But also our skin looking its best is all about our skin functioning best. Because when our skin isn't functioning well, it's not going to look its best, and that's when we tend to have problems with our skin anyhow, when it's not as well organized, when it doesn't have the molecules required for it to maintain itself in a healthy fashion.
By the way, Andrew, we did hit that 15,000 mark, so we are there, and just so you realize, I know Andrew and his team are managing the inventory as best they can. If you are interested, though, I would definitely suggest if you could make your buying decision now or certainly shortly thereafter the show, because it does appear most certainly that the larger sizes will not be available. That's what I'm going for, because it's really like a buy one, get one free if you want to look at it that way. Regardless, though, and I think it's so apropos that this is for Father's Day or on Father's Day, because girls, we can cheat a little bit. You know, it takes a village, right? You know, the concealer, the hair color, the nails, the whole 9 yards. But guys, you're not exempt, and it's a competitive world, and men or women, this is great.
No, I tend to not pay much attention. You know, I'll come out here without
You clean up pretty good, though, Andrew, I gotta say.
Without brushing my hair, whatever. So, but again, I might not be willing to go that extra yard to look my very best, but far be it for me to not swallow a capsule of this every day.
Right, it's easy, right?
Or to take my marine collagen or my healthy hair, skin, and nails. So I think for those of us who already invest a large amount of time or a large amount of money, things like this become very affordable. I mean, there are moisturizers out there, and when we look at our healthy hair, skin, and nail product, which really costs pennies a day, this ends up costing, what does it end up being? This is more expensive. This ends up being over 30 cents, closer to 40 cents a day per capsule. But so this, unfortunately, is an expensive raw material. But when you look at what we spend on all the related products, and we look at how we might suffer with issues with our skin, this is an opportunity to give to our skin its most critical molecule in terms of the organization of its moisturizing function. And that's perhaps among the most important functions of our skin, because that's the very core of that barrier function, which is top on the list of what our skin has to perform for us.
I don't want to jump around too much, Andrew, but I heard you say this last night. On a fundamental level, you eat clean, you look great. I mean, we all do our best with regard to diet and exercise, et cetera, but there's really nothing, like if I say, you know what, doggone it, I've got so much information from Andrew, but I'm gonna do this in my diet. I'm gonna eat to get my phytoceramides in. That's really not an effective option.
In fact, and this is not a product that that you have to worry about any gluten sensitivity or anything like that. There's no gluten, it's gluten-free or anything, but this has to be very, 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 how would you say, assiduously extracted, carefully extracted from the kernel of wheat.
Oh.
So it is something, it basically is a standardized extract. There's no gluten, there's no allergens, it's hypoallergenic, but it's a product that is, if you wanted to get phytoceramides from food, you're eating incredible amounts of nuts and seeds. Those are the very, very, very best sources of ceramides. But still, even if you eat remarkable amounts of nuts and seeds, which of course provide healthy oils, but you're still getting only tiny, tiny trace amounts of ceramides.
Wow.
So ceramides are of course also present in animals. Of course, ceramides are present in living cells, but I'd rather not get ceramides from the skin of animals. I'd rather get natural plant-based ceramides, which is why our ceramides are superior. And of course, when you look at our ceramides, that's where the research, we simply followed the research.
Which, by the way, can I just, as an aside, sometimes when I'm on the air with a guest, I can throw anything Andrew's way. And when I say anything, because he knows, sometimes if I'm on the air with a guest, I'm like, oh, I didn't ask him if I can ask that question during the show. Andrew, honey, I don't care. You know, the cows are out of the barn. Whatever pops in my head, you know the answer.
But that's even why I like taking questions. And last night we were getting a lot of great questions from the folks that were doing the Facebook Live.
Yeah, I know. That was fun.
And for me, and that's why I love to do the Monday night shows, because we spend just 2 hours answering questions. So that's my job. And as I said, a colleague last night was saying, well, it's so amazing that I know all this information. It isn't amazing. We all know all the information necessary for our jobs, our respective jobs. This just happens to be my job. So it is my job to know all this information, because more than making a great product, and we make this product, and unfortunately, our hands are a little bit tied unless we figure out how to make the raw material, which we've been known to do in the past.
I know.
We're unfortunately, we have to get this raw material from the company that makes the raw material that was used in the science upon which I rely. So unfortunately, our hands are tied in that respect. But if you want to deliver this moisturizing ingredient, and by moisturizing ingredient, we're not talking about moisturizing on the outside. Again, moisturizing on the outside is us usually putting fatty or lipid-based molecules on the outside of our body. That's an emollient feeling. That's not moisturizing our skin per se. moisturizing our skin is doing something that increases hydration, increases moisture retention in the stratum corneum. That's moisturization, and that's not my definition of moisturization. If you went to those skin scientists and those dermatologists and those experts, that is their definition of moisturization. And the only way, to my knowledge, you can affect that is by doing things on the inside of your body. Improving the fat content of your diet, healthy fats. Of course, you don't throw caution to the wind with fats in terms of calories, but we all now know that a diet rich in healthy fats is better than a diet rich in carbs and sugars, which we had been eating for the last several decades, and kind of that sort of recommendation in the past is, I think, where a lot of America's issues with overweight and obesity have come from. But if you want to improve the hydration and the appearance of your skin, then a diet rich in healthy fats, you have to hydrate yourself. I hear over and over and over from folks, especially as we all get older, both men and women, that we drink less tea or less water. And of course, coffee is a diuretic, alcohol is a diuretic, so it's not going to be all that hydrating. But we drink less water, less fluid, because bladder function and all that, you have to go too frequently. It's kind of really inconvenient. And I'm sure there's some people nodding yes, but if you want to moisturize your skin, you need to accept the fact that you're going to be visiting that other room more frequently to get rid of moisture, water, because you have to hydrate your skin from the inside out. And just as we talk about fats from the inside out in terms of moisture retention and radiance of our skin, you can't escape the fact that it's the same with ceramides and the same with water. Those are the keys. Cholesterol. We're not going to add cholesterol to our diet. We have plenty of cholesterol. But again, these are the keys. And you wonder, if you start lowering cholesterol levels, taking cholesterol-lowering drugs, cholesterol being an integral part of skin moisturization, does that affect skin moisturization? Sort of an interesting question.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sorry to derail the train when you were into the science, but just as a quick question, do you do the soft gel to preserve the efficacy or the effectiveness of it? Because you could do, because he makes these. In case that wasn't clear, Andrew is the source, because there's this great little...
Phytoceramides happen to be a nice, sometimes we deal with molecules that are incredibly unstable, and we have to do things using nitrogen blankets and to protect things so we keep oxygen away. Phytoceramides happen to be very stable. Oh. And of course, when we make our soft gels then are like little mini containers. So the soft gel only further protects the efficacies of phytoceramides. So phytoceramides, if you're getting the best phytoceramides, they're going to be in a liquid soft gel like this.
Oh, nice. Hey, I know we've only got a few minutes left in this presentation, so, and I apologize, there's always so much information with Andrew. It's so fun. Don't you love watching him? Sometimes the only caveat with that is sometimes I get so caught up in the information I forget to order. So I don't want that to happen to you, especially if you want some of the larger sizes. This is definitely one of those situations.
I have questions.
Okay. Oh.
I now have my own blue cards.
I like that.
I normally don't have blue cards. I now have some. So how long does it take to see a difference?
Oh, good question.
Just from reading through many of the reviews last night, some people say they see a difference in a day or two. Typically what I hear with this product is a week or two. 30 days is plenty of time, and really give yourself an opportunity. Some people will take 2 capsules a day for the first month, then go to 1 capsule a day thereafter. So, but I would say 30 days is plenty of time to see a difference.
Good question.
Can you take phytoceramides with healthy hair, skin, and nails and marine collagen all together? Absolutely. Again, marine collagen peptides. These are all food-based. These are dietary supplements. They're nutrient ingredients. They're not drugs. They can all be taken together. They don't counteract one another. They don't interact with one another except in a positive fashion in your body. So yes, you can. And when you take them all together, all you will get is better results. And of course, marine collagen peptides and healthy hair, skin, and nails. That's our July Today special, which you could pre-order today. Through Monday at midnight, you could pre-order it. Then you won't see them again until July, when they're actual Today special. What is the difference between phytoceramides and marine collagen? The organizing structure of our skin, also organizing structure of our joints and of our vascular tissue in our body, throughout our body, the most predominant protein in our body is collagen protein. So marine collagen is designed and intended to improve the organization, to provide the raw material necessary to improve the organization of the collagen protein in our body, thereby improving the organization of our skin. The collagen peptides delivered to our skin help. We talk about cellulite and things like that. We'll be talking about next month, because cellulite is something that relates to poorly organized collagen fibers in the layers beneath our skin. Whereas phytoceramides, ceramides are a different layer in our skin, the role for which is to improve and retain moisture. So phytoceramides are these lipid-based molecules designed to help retain moisture in our skin, whereas collagen peptides are these protein molecules that are more akin to like muscle fibers, but a different kind of fiber, collagen fiber, which of course collagen fiber is also integrated into our muscle as well. Our tendons, our ligaments, our muscle, you find it throughout our body. It's a strong integrating structural protein. So entirely different. One, a strong integrating structural protein. The other, a very unique type of fat called a sphingolipid that's responsible for moisture retention. So hopefully that helped contrast them effectively. And how does it impact blood glucose regulation and vitamin D3 levels? Marine collagen peptides should have no impact on blood glucose levels whatsoever, except to the extent, who knows, it might actually exert a positive influence, as protein can influence blood glucose levels in a positive way. So it should have no impact whatsoever on blood glucose levels, and absolutely no impact on vitamin D3 levels. Marine collagen peptides entirely unrelated to vitamin D3, cholecalciferol. So
awesome.
no impact at all.
Good job, you guys.
So great questions.
See, your viewers are smart too.
Yes.
They are. Very smart customers. So remember, July is our official beauty visit, if you will, but this was a little preemptive strike, if you will, a nice little surprise visit, because congratulations to Andrew's niece, which that freaks me out that she's getting married.
Yes.
Because we haven't aged a day, for heaven's sake.
She's getting, Emma and Anthony are getting married. Very exciting. So that's why I was on the East Coast.
That's so wild. Yep. Okay, so just a quick reminder for you. We will have a little abbreviated airing of this next hour. And then, of course, we'll talk about available quantity, et cetera, et cetera. So choose your size of choice. Most of us are kind of doing the buy one, get one on the 240. But we want to do a little...
and I'll try to read some of the reviews. I didn't read any reviews. I only read a couple of reviews last night. I'll try to read some reviews we'll can only spend about 20 minutes at the end of the hour, because we don't have that much.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so we want to do like a little preview, right?
A little quick preview of today's specials.